So a really interesting run for the dollar against the US dollar. As you can see here, green, 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 green. We've gone to the highest rate now since, let's go to the weekly, I think it's February 2023. Yeah, it was the last time we were sort of above 70 cents. So the last high was October last year, and we touched that sort of 68, 69 cents. But as you can see, these past couple of weeks, it's just taken a huge run up. So for athletes in Australia, those coming across to play in the A-League or the NRL, the NBL is a big one with a lot of imports. You've now had a massive pay rise in the last couple of weeks. We've seen moves now just from the start of January to now of 6%, but from the low that we sort of seen in November, which lasted all the way to May, we're I think about 9-10% since November. So that's obviously a massive increase. So if you're on $1 million contract, you're potentially 100,000 better off than what you were this time in sort of May, June. And even if you go back to the start of the year, if you're looking back at January last year, we're at 62 cents. So that $1 million is then worth 620,000 US. Today it's worth 706,000 US. It's about an $80,000 difference. Massive. And that's purely come from moves in the currency markets. There's a lot of speculation about what's going on, at the moment. The US dollar has been selling off and has been looking to sell off. Donald Trump overall wants a weaker US dollar for better trade. He's desperate to have interest rates cut. So he wants interest rates at 1%. They're currently sitting about 3.75. They had their meeting this morning and left them on hold. But the big thing here is that Jerome Powell, who's the current Fed chair, is moving on in a couple of months, and Trump wants to bring in his own man and start dictating, where rates go. So as an overseas athlete earning in Australian dollars, this could be a good thing for you. And obviously, if you flip this around and look at this from a US to Australian dollar point of view, so you're an Australian athlete earning US dollars, you obviously flip this upside down. So, you're down 6% in the last couple of weeks and 10% in the last year. So again, that $1 million contract has lost 10% value in 12 months. So this is the thing that we do here at SportsFX is protect against that, protect against these currency swings. So much unknown and so much volatility, especially with Trump in the market. Now, I've been in foreign exchange since 2015, and the last time he was in power, 2016 to 2020, we saw non-stop volatility, and we're seeing it again now. Obviously, with tariff wars, trade wars, interest rate cuts, the Bank of Japan carry trade, which I've written about in our newsletter. There's a lot going on. Basically, that creates uncertainty. When there's uncertainty, people usually sell off. And what we've seen with that is, if you follow gold and silver, or you've seen the news, they've gone to all-time highs. Gold's at an all-time high, silver's at an all-time high. And usually what that would mean is when there's uncertainty, money would go into the US dollar, the Japanese yen, and the Swiss franc. They were known as safe haven currencies. It feels like there's a change happening, and from all the reading and reporting that we're sort of looking at, gold is becoming that new safe haven, which it always has been for savings, but it feels like it's a little bit different this time, and a lot of people getting away from the US dollar. The petrodollar agreement, which happened 50 odd years ago, finished late last year, and it just seems like a lot of people are trying to get away from the US dollar as the global currency. This is a chart of the US dollar, the DXY, which measures it against a basket of other currencies majors: the euro, the euro, the pound, the yen, Swiss franc, Australian dollar, etc. And this is now at its lowest point since 2022. And as you can see, we've also had from the start of 2025 last year a 13.5% drop in the value of US dollars. The main concern here is, say, if you're an athlete earning US dollars overseas, that could be in baseball, basketball, football, rugby, America, even cricket. We help a few cricketers. It's a huge risk. You've got injury risk. You've got new coaches changing, whether they like you, they don't like you. There's a lot of ups and downs in sport. One thing which is guaranteed is currency risk. It's always going to move, and it's one of the things that people never think about, or think about when it's too late or at the very last minute. As I said, if you had a $1 million contract on January the 1st, 2025, it's now worth 10 to 12% less And if it was against the euro, 17% less than what it was this time last year. So can you afford a 17% pay cut every year? That's the question. No one wants to handle that. And that's what we do. We come in and we try and protect that for you. And the reason being is because currencies, as you can see, are extremely volatile. And especially at the moment, when there's so much going on between the US, China, Russia, all sorts of trade wars, real wars, everything happening, and the markets are the ones that take the hit. And unfortunately, as an overseas athlete, you take the actual hit in your pocket. So I don't want to make this too long. I'm going to make more and more of these videos talking about the currencies, why they move, how they move, but more importantly, how they affect you and how you can protect yourself against it. So I'll leave this one here for now. My name is Chris Broadfoot. I'm the founder of SportsFX, and we help international athletes manage themselves against currency risk. I'll leave a link in the description to reach out to me. We send out a free weekly newsletter. I try and record, these videos as often as I can to help people, and we run webinars for global associations. And what we're all about is educating people around this. So, please reach out, ask me any questions, book a call. There's no charge. I just like to help where we can, and if I can assist at all, let me know.